Good evening, everyone. Final race of the season. We've got a few things to sort out tonight. That being the Drivers' Championship. And we've got a Constructors' Battle going on as well. So be ready for an interesting night. I'm hoping that Felix crashes out early. Everyone will be happy. But Bassett seems to have taken the lead out of the pits at the back end of the season. And he is your man that's leading this title fight. So he will do the honour of taking us around the lap for the first time. And then, as I do every week, we'll catch up with the other drivers, see what they're up to. And I managed to set up the menu without too much fuss. So yeah, a couple of battles going on for the standings. Basically, in a nutshell, Bassett pretty much has to DNF here for anyone else to win the championship. He's on 126 points. He's won one race, come second in 3 races, and he's had a third. Maggott is the closest man to him on 104. He's had 2 race wins. He's had a podium as well. And then, I mean, surprisingly, Felix. He could go level on points. And actually, I think it then comes down to races won, which actually Felix is in the lead of at the moment. So if Felix needs to beat Maggott and make sure that, well, he needs to win the race. He needs to beat Maggott by 3 points. Yeah, it's not happening for him. He's going to crash anyway. So, and then Nicky Lauda's on 100 points, so he can't catch the leader unless he gets the fastest lap as well. But he would have a mountain to climb to try and get that. He hasn't won a race yet this season. So that's for the title. For the constructors, Aston Martin have had a really strong finish to the season. They're on 166 points. As Bassett is going to start the lap, so I'll let you jump on board, and I'll just finish this off. We've got AlphaTauri, which is Bassett, who we're on board with now. Oh, and Bob's driving in the other AlphaTauri tonight, but he will not gain points because he's a reserve. So Charlie is not here to try and help Bassett out from a constructor's point of view. The other team that are involved are Ferrari, and that is Maggott and Evan, so they're both full-time drivers. They can both score points. They are 14 points behind. No, they're not, sorry. They are 20 points behind, so they need a big result and for Aston Martin to really spin it. So, yeah, quite a bit to sort out tonight. And, yeah, hope you've been watching the lap whilst I've been talking that through. But Bassett is now just coming in to finish sector 2. And he's into the windy bit of the course now. Of course. Playing too much golf. Track. We're racing. But as you can see, full of corners this section. All about making sure you keep the grip in the rear end of the car. And you turn the final bend around, pitch straight, and he will set the first time of the day, which is a 1:34.5. TGL Stewart is right behind him with a 34.7. So that's your benchmark to start the session. It's joined Kazinga, who's making his way down into sector 3 now. He's improved towards the back end, and actually should have had a couple of race wins really, but it's been unfortunate not to pick up a win. So not surprised to see the Aston Martin team starting to pick up. Now he's actually got Felix working with him. That's nice and neat. As Huss has put in a 35, and Felix goes fastest with a 34.5. And Kazingle beats it with a 34.2, so the two Aston Martin teams are going at it, but that will be an interesting predicament at the end of the race. If Felix has a chance to win the race, he has a chance to win the title. Would Kazingle give up the place? No idea. One we'll have to find out later. But Maggot's on his way around the final bend. He is a title challenger. What can he put up on the board? And it looks quick. It is quick. It's a 33.9, so goes fastest so far. As Evan is out. Evan's in the pit as well. So, I mean, that is not good for their constructors' challenge. They need to overhaul the Aston Martin team by 20 points. So, interesting. Right, Maggot is currently on pole. We've got Reliot, who's reserving for us on an outlap. We've got Alfansio on an outlap. Connor's out for an outlap, who's, again, reserving tonight. Kalitsos, he's invalidated. Who else have we got out on a lap? Niki Lauda? No, he's invalidated as well. So, who is the next person to cross the line? It is Connor, I think. Jumping forward with Connor, one of the reserves for tonight. And I'll talk you around the track actually, because I didn't really do that earlier. So turn one, you sort of uphill, nice little hairpin, and it turns downhill. And that is one point where we will see a few people lose traction around there. And you come into a set of S-bends in sector one, and you've just got to keep the car flowing through this section. And then it's a tight left-hander, which then is a long right-hander. You have to be patient, and then get back on the throttle for that left-hander, and now you're working your way down the hill, you're out of sector one, and you've got another tight hairpin that's going to lead you onto the back straight, and this is where you'll find who is running the high downforce. And this is a massive overtaking spot. BRS is powerful on this game. BRS not so powerful, but this is where you'll see the wing difference if people are running higher or lower wings. But we're coming around to the end of sector 2, another little hairpin to finish us straight, and then this is the windy section we saw earlier. So a long right hand, you've got to be patient on the throttle here because you can lose the back end of the car, and then you come into a really awkward sort of left hand hairpin, just the corner goes on forever, and then you work your way back round to the right, massive sort of really wide hairpin if you like, all the way back round, and then you swing the car in to a sort of open left-hander. Got to carry as much speed through there as possible into the final corner of the lap. Nice and tight and curving. And Connor's away down the exit, and we'll put in a 35.5, puts him in 8th. So let's have a look at Reliot, who's also reserving. It looks like he's trying to put in a lap for us. So he's just on his way down the back end of the straight. Rocking the Williams tonight, and his brother Guna is in the Williams with him. And he's put in a purple first sector, 103.6 so far. Just coming through this tricky third sector. A little bit of a change of an elevation on that left-hand corner we saw a second ago. As Bassett's managed to put himself, or he remains in 4th from that first lap that he put out. Marshmallow's got himself up there with a 34.7 as Reliot's now coming around the final corner. Man Like Donkey's put in a 35.2, and Reliot just goes above Stewart there with a 34.7. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get anyone pushing that 33.9, and this guy is someone that can do that. So jump on board with him. There's a couple more times to come in. Bolger's put in a 35.5. And Guna slipped into the top 3 with a 34.3, so well done to Guna. And let's see if Rishi can get Maggot off of pole. He should have had a few more decent results this year, but he's had a bit of poor luck. Hungary probably being the most recent, where the rain just started to come down just as the safety car came in on the last few laps after he'd led the whole race. He was on the wrong tyre, and turn 1 just did not end well for him, or the Aston Martins to be fair. So I don't think he even picked up points in the end. But yeah, I'm sure it was Singapore that he won originally, and yeah, he's just got good racecraft. So he's making his way around the final sector. Can he take that pole position? Can he put a dent in Maggot's title hopes? And he just gets a little bit out of shape. Oh, don't go in the pits, Rishi. What are you doing? Oh, okay, don't go in the pits then. I don't think he meant to do that. He's coming there too hot, but yeah, sorry mate, not your finest moment, but I caught it on camera. As Niki Lauda comes around the line now, what is he going to put in? Or is he just starting the lap now? So let's jump on board with him. Fourth in the championship. Don't think he can win the championship, but he can certainly upset the guys at the top. He's got plenty of pace. As he gets a nice neat exit out of the first hairpin. See how he attacks his S-bends. You see he's just keeping the momentum in the car as much as possible. Probably missed the third apex that he had in that little windy section, but pretty neat otherwise. You can see you can take loads of curve there. Just get the car in a straight line and make your way down to this very tricky hairpin. It's such a wide part of the track, but it takes ages for the car to just straighten back up again. And now it's put flat out all the way down this back straight. And you'll see that there's some DRS as we've got Bassett now. He's put himself back on pole and putting his dominance back into this race. He'd look to sign off with a win, get the job done, but to be fair, he doesn't need to force anything tonight. He just needs to score a good amount of points. Anywhere in the top 10, really. Any point should see him do it, unless Maggot wins, really. But here comes Niki Lauda then, coming round into sector 3, nice and neat through that last, or the penultimate corner. He's coming up to the last corner now. Chuck it in there, carry the momentum, get your foot down, over the line. It's a 34.0, puts him in 4th. TGL Stewart looks like he's improved to a 34.0. I think Kazingle might have improved a little bit there. Oh look, no, he hadn't improved. He has now. It's a 34.0, so he's back up into 3rd. Guna has been relegated down to 6th for now. Felix, look, he's dropped down to 8th. Looks like he's just short of a 10th up. Well, that's what the screen was suggesting. He's just coming into sector 3, so he's going to need to find a lot more than that in his final run. But let's see if the timing things were being kind to me or whether they're lying. Pretty neat in there. You can see just wanted to click it up a gear just to make sure he didn't lose the back end. Nice momentum through that final corner, and what can he do? He does improve. It's up to 6th. Needs to win tonight. He's going to get the championship. But here's Huss. Let's just see. Make sure he hasn't got a light on, and we're not following him. Yeah, his light is on, so he is not on a hot lap. What about his teammate for tonight, Kalitsos? He's invalidated, so we won't stick on board with him. Felix has just done a lap, so he's probably not on one. I think Niki Lauda's on his way in. TGL, I think, has just done a lap, so I can't imagine he's going again. No, he's got his light on. Kazingle's just done a lap, so I'm assuming he's not on one. No, his light's flashing. So we've got no one on a hot lap currently, I don't think. Very quiet grid, 5 minutes out. So Bog is on an out lap. Let's jump on with him then. He's got very good memories of this track. Very good memories of this track. Race of Champions. Led every single lap to the final corner. And unfortunately, it ended up being me commentating on that race, along with a good friend No Jug. And he blames us to this day because we called it before the final corner. But he took it like a champ, to be fair. So here we go, starts his hot lap. Oh, what? Don't flip off him. Oh, okay, just lovely camera angle. I mean, this track's not the best for good camera angles. Let's stick on the onboard. So he's making his way through the S's. Look at that momentum he's carrying through there. That's the best I've seen it so far. Managed to keep himself on the power. So this looks nice and tidy. He's 3/10 up on his time, which is big gains. I mean, he loves this track, and you can tell because he's hitting every single apex, cutting the corners where he needs to. Let's see how he deals with the hairpin. Just clips the apex and straightens the car up nice and quickly. Foot down. DRS giving him a little boost down the straight. He's probably going to drink the majority of it down here. You can just cut a fair amount of this curb. Decides not to though. Puts the power down. Nice and patient on the power. Gets going again. So it's looked really neat so far. Flat out the whole way around there. Just a slight lift and a little bit of a brake. Just clipped that sausage curb, but it's fine. He's carried the momentum through. Just hits the final corner. And what can he produce? It's 4/10 improvement. 35 is at 15th. So good work from Bob. We've got Maggot back out. Let's join him. See if he can improve. See if he can improve his chances of winning the championship. It's just coming around to the final couple of corners now. Here's the final corner, so straighten it up, get it over the line. What's it going to be? It looks reasonably quick, and it is pole. This is 1:33.5, so over to you, Bassett, and over to you, Kazingle, who actually I think is on a lap. Let's see if he can improve. It looks like he's weaving a little bit. Does that mean you're just about to start a lap, or does that mean you're done? I think he's just starting a lap, so let's jump on board with him. I wonder if he did 2 warm-up laps just to get his tyres nice and warm. Here he comes anyway, down into sector 1. Let's see how he handles the S-bends. That's a lot of the first one. Carries tons of momentum. He's got a nice inside line there. So you can see that people are tackling it slightly differently, but it's all about the momentum you can carry through there. And again, you can see that he takes a lot of that curb. It looked like it unsettled the car a little bit, but not enough to unsettle his car. And sometimes you like to see people pushing out onto that green AstroTurf on entry, just to widen up the corner a little bit more, but I've not seen anyone on tonight doing that. He's making his way down the back straight. He's got his teammate behind him. I wonder if that's a slipstream. Might not be intended, but and look, that's how much of the curb you can cut. You can probably even cut a bit more than that. And Kazingle is 2 tenths up, so it's not going to be enough for pole, but he might have some time to find in the 3rd sector. He might be able to improve to 2nd, depending on how much he can save. Oh, and he spun it. He just got on the gas too early on the curbing. So Bassett, he's just coming round to end the 1st sector. He looks like he has improved on his time. Oh, he's pulled out the lap. He's invalidated. So that's the end of that. So Maggot could well be on pole here. Can TGL? No, he's given up. He's moving out the way. Nicky Lauda he's improved, but probably not enough to dislodge Maggot. And Felix's finisher, he will start at best in 7th. So that's Maggot finished, Bassett's finished, Kazingle's finished, Stewart's finished. Nicky Lauda then is probably the next man that you'd think. And he runs wide. It hasn't invalidated him. I mean, he looked like he carried a lot of momentum, so he's got away with that. Can he do it? Oh, it's a 38.8, so it puts him into the top 3. That relegates the one of the Aston Martins again, so they could be bang up against it for this this championship. And Rishi puts in a 33.8. Stewart, I think, is done. Benny is sideways. Cav is sideways. Anyone still going? Cav is parked up. There is no one else on a hot lap, boys. Get back to the pits. That is going to be your order. So we've got Maggot starting his title claims now with a 33.5. Bassett starting to improve but couldn't finish his final run. It's a 33.7. Guna manages to pip up into 3rd. The champion he is, always hanging around, 33.8. Rishi, class driver as well, with a 33.8. Nicky Lauda with a 33.8, and then come the 34s. Kazingle, who I think again was improving but binned it on that last lap, so he's got some more pace than his qualifying is suggesting. TGL in 7th, Huss in 8th. Felix drops to 9th, so if he's going to win this race, he's got a lot of work to do it, and he's going to need some help. Marshmallow in 10th with a 34.4. Alfancio 11th. Benny in 12th. Welcome back, by the way. I think this is your second race now. Cav in 13th. Relia in 14th. Kalitsos in 15th. Bog, I think that's your first reserve drive of the year in Division 3, so well done to you. And then just to finish that off, Man Like Donkey in 17th, Connor Havoc in 18th, and Evan didn't put in a time, not sure what happened to him, but he's got some work to do if their Ferrari team are going to take the constructors. So that's qualifying done. Now the real work begins, where we find out who's going to be champion, and Bassett has got it all to lose. Maggot's got it all to win, and Felix got a mountain to climb. We can't have Felix winning it because we'll never hear the end of it. But good luck, everyone. And weirdly, we have an Ipswich fan on the grid tonight, and he's going to want to know an update on the score. So Plymouth are losing to Derby 1-0, and Ipswich are winning. Wickham are also winning. I'm not sure that's too much of a problem for them, but so a good start for Ipswich. Otherwise, it's just the Champions League, which are both 0-0 at the minute. So let's hope we see Chelsea get knocked out. That'd be nice. Anyway, back to the race. It looks nice and sunny. It doesn't often rain here, but when it does, it's a nightmare. But we've seen some crazy races this year with rain affecting them. So, I mean, I'd be happy to see it. Spice things up a little bit. Just not sure if I'll be able to keep up with the championship battle if that happens. So cars are on their formation lap. Maggot will lead the way. And he's going to want to pull off into the distance and just hope Bassett makes a mistake. Should have a look at strategies. And there's a massive mix of strategies here. So Maggot decides to start hard. Bassett and Guna decide mediums. Most of the rest of the grid are then on hard. Felix and Marshmallow go medium. And we've got a couple of guys at the back of the field going softs. Cav, Bog and Connor. So they're either doing a soft stint to go to hards, or they might be going soft, medium, medium. Maybe. But I don't think soft tyres last too long around here, but not raced here for a while. But yeah, look, there's the second alternate strategy then, soft, medium, medium. But yeah, I think you only got sort of 5-6 laps out of a set of softs, or definitely good laps anyway. So it'd be interesting to see their thought processes. They're probably assuming there's going to be a safety car, which gives them a free pit stop. So might not be the worst strategy in the world. But Maggot leads the way in the Ferrari. He's got constructors to win. He's got a driver's title to try and challenge for. But the odds are all in Bassett's favour. He's up in second. Just needs a decent haul of points to clinch the title. I think he dropped out of the race late. I think he crashed out late last week, so just won't want to repeat of that. But again, he's been one of the drivers to catch all season. Maggot starts to warm up his rear tyres because he's going to be sat there for a little while waiting for the rest of the grid. And now you'll see him try and park up just beyond that yellow line. Bassett's been disqualified, which means he didn't hit that yellow line. Yeah, can't jump aboard with him, but you can see Maggot's car there from the front of Guna's car. don't tell me that is the camera angle from the start of the race. I mean, I suppose it's not too bad. We're not going to be able to see what else is going on, eh? Surely not. Oh, okay, it is. Okay, well, let's ride with it. So we've got 5 lights. Maggot's away. Give me a different camera angle so I can see what's going on. Bassett's off to a lightning start at the inside. And I think he's got the lead of the race. Give me a better camera angle, please. But anyway, we've got Maggot in second. There's a little bit of touching behind, but these two are away. But Bassett takes control of this race early on. And now Maggot just needs to pile the pressure on him, basically. As you can see, the cars making their way through the S-bends. We've got a couple side by side, and that is an Alpine further back in the field, which is Connor Havoc. But it looks nice and clean back there for now. But anyway, Bassett takes the lead of the race on those medium tyres. That's exactly what he would have wanted. He would have wanted the jump off the start, make a nice gap, maybe find himself a pit stop somewhere along the way. But he's nearly a second clear already. Guna then is just behind Maggot and closing in 4/10 back. Rishi just behind him, 4/10 back. And then there's a little bit of a gap to Kazingle, who wants to close that gap up slightly because his teammate is down in 10th and he's got the constructors to think about. So I think they need to score. If Evan is not going to get into the points, they need to outscore him by 5 or more to keep that constructors title. So, like I say, a couple of things to sort out tonight, but it looks like there's a little bit of a move. Rishi was having a look at the inside of Guna there at the start of sector 3, but you're not going to get through Guna there as Cav makes his way past Bog, and those two I'm pretty sure are on the soft tyre, so they're not going to want to battle each other too hard. And there are some yellow flags, and it is a Haas. It's Benny. Not sure what's happened to him, but these front runners can keep going. There's no safety car. Can we jump with him? He's getting back underway again. So Bassett sets the fastest lap of the race. Hasn't quite broken that second barrier to Maggot yet. So maybe those hard tyres are just warming up enough, but he's right on the edge. He needs to get back into that before that DRS straight down the back. But Guna is applying pressure. He's also on the medium tyres, so I'm not surprised to see him challenging. And he's got Rishi just behind him. I think he's on the hard tyres. Quick look, yeah, he is on the white stripe tyre. Kazingle is now a second away from Rishi, so got to find a way, and that sort of oversteer is not going to help. As Nicky Lauda is just 5/10 back, he's also on the hard tyre, and then we've got quite a big gap back to Huss then, who sort of leads the rest, which is Marshmallow, Stewart and Felix. So Felix having a nightmare so far tonight. Let's have a look at Guna and see if he's closing in on Maggot. I think actually Maggot is a little bit closer to Bassett, to be honest, so the field looks like it's just sorted itself out, and we can see the little groups of battles that are going to go on here. We've got the front four in Bassett, Maggot, Guna and Rishi, and then it looks like Kazingle and Nicky Lauda are in for their own little race, and then we've got Marshmallow, Huss, Stewart, as they're both going off track. What? Wow, that's let Stewart and Felix through. I wonder what happened there. I mean, they looked side by side but ended up running off the track. Should have jumped on a little bit earlier to see that, but let's jump on board with Marshmallow, who seems to be all over the gearbox of Huss. So that promotes Stewart and Felix. They make their way through, so that's a gift for Felix. As they make their way through turn 1, and Cav and Kalitsos are having a little battle, and it looks like Kalitsos gets through on the inside of Cav, and Bog's made his way up to 13th place, so those soft tyres are gaining him some places for now. But let's jump back with Marshmallow. He's really putting some pressure on Huss here. And where will he make his move? So he could make it just before the corner into the straight, and he's got a good exit here, so I think that's probably where he's going to launch his attack. Will Huss defend on the inside? Seem to have lost the overspeed, but Marshmallow brakes early, and he's going to try and switch into him. He's on the medium tyres, so he's on the quicker tyre, but has Huss got the right downforce to try and defend this? They're side by side. This is going to be interesting. By the time they get into that braking zone, it's all going to be about whether Marshmallow can brake a little bit later on that soft compounder tyre, as Felix gets past Stewart into the same hairpin, and Marshmallow, and that's Felix round. Felix has gone round. He must have spun it just as he was trying to fight Stewart on the exit of that corner. So after getting a gift from these two, He then throws it all away and he's back in 17th, and that dream of winning a championship has really blown up in front of his face. So that's what he gets for trying to wind me up in the chat. But anyway, it looks like this this battle now has sort of cooled down. We've got about a second gap in between all of them. Nicky Lauda is half a second back from Kazingle. Kazingle is about 2 seconds back from Rishi. Guna's probably the closest man on track. He's 2/10 behind Maggot and has been for quite a long time. And just remind you that he is on the softer compounded tyres on the mediums. And what's happening down here with Volk? He managed to go up to 11th. He's back down to 13th. There must have been a bit of a fight into turn 1. And he's losing even more places, so I wonder if he's got any damage. Or those soft tyres are going off. I think he's probably had a collision there, because he somehow managed to get up into 11th and just saw him drop like a stone a little bit. So interesting, but there's a little bit of an attack here from Man Like Donkey, who's on the hard tyres. It looks like he gets a push from Evan, who now runs wide, and that's let Felix and Connor through, and Evan's trying to fight Connor back, but doesn't look like that's going to be there for the taking. And Felix has got some work to do to get himself back up, but Nicky Lauda and Kazingle are now fighting, and that's down the straight, so Kazingle must have been trying to defend that position and takes the inside line and covers Nicky Lauda off, and Nicky Lauda looks like he's trying to switch back there, but probably not the corner for it, as Reliant gets past Kalitsos, and they seem to switch back again, so that must be another battle that's happening at the end of that straight. So Kazingle trying to get his head down, getting away from Nicky Lauda, who's putting tons of pressure on him. Aston Martin are under pressure at the minute at the top of this constructors battle, but I think as it stands, Kazingle's doing enough for the team to make sure they get that constructors title sewn up. So Guna continues to put pressure on Maggot. Nicky Lauda continues to put pressure on Kazingle. There's a lot of place swapping going on back down the field. Bog is in the pit, that's why. So he must have picked up damage with whatever happened between Kalitsos and I think it was Cav, I could be wrong. But there was 3 of them there that just seemed to tangle up a little bit. But we'll see if Nicky Lauda can do anything. Let's just jump on board with Guna, because he's having a look at Maggot, who has got a flashing ERS light here. So this could be Guna's opportunity. Nice and patient on the exit there, but Maggot just seems to get a better exit, and he puts his ERS on to try and chase down the leader and keep himself away from Guna. So I think Guna's playing the long game here. Let's flip back from Nicky Lauda, because he looks like he wants to make a move on Kazingle, but he's just a bit too far back. Can't make it on this occasion. Marshmallow gets past Stuart round the same corner, and Stuart's trying to fight it back. He's got the inside line, chucks a lot of speed into this corner. So can Marshmallow get him on the switchback? He can for now, but this is going to become another switchback for Stuart, and he chucks a load of speed into the next corner of Marshmallow, and he has to run wide, so that's going to concede the place, and Marshmallow gets it, so he's forced TGO into a mistake there. TGO battling hard. Good little chess battle going in round there. A Man Like Donkey makes up a position on Kalitsos a bit further down the field, but Guna ever closer to Maggot, and again seeing that light flashing, Guna has been managing his ERS very well, and he knows that it's a matter of time before Maggot becomes vulnerable. But it just looks like Maggot's got a little bit more confidence out of the corners. He seems to be really getting the car to accelerate out of those turns, and Guna's just been a little bit more patient to make sure he doesn't lose the back end. So I wonder if that's a setup thing or maybe just a confidence thing, but there are some corners you can see that Guna just is good at throwing the car into the corners, and we've got a McLaren off. It's Marshmallow, he's off at the S-bends. I wonder if he's lost it or whether he got tangled with someone, but so yeah, he's off trying to rejoin the track. That's going to be hard down there. You have to let quite a few cars through before he gets back on it. Kalitsos picks up a 3-second time penalty. But like I said before, we've got a clear battle for the race here, and Maggot's really starting to put pressure on Bassett. It's just happening in front of Guna, and he'll be delighted to see them battling. Just keeps him tagged along, and Rishi, I think Rishi's probably just conserving himself behind, waiting for a mistake in front, and yeah, he seems to be managing his ERS pretty well whilst he watches all of this unfold in front of him. And then, like I said before, we've got these two in their own little race, Kazingle and Nicky Lauda. Nicky Lauda still behind Kazingle, hasn't found a way through, but just letting Kazingle know he's still there. And then we've got a 5-second gap to Stewart, who seems to be a little bit on his own. Huss is 2.5 seconds back. And then he's got a cab about a second down the road. He's the first person to pit. He was on the softs. Let's join him in a minute and see what he comes back out and see if he's going to do the soft medium, or whether he does I don't know if you could make a soft medium work. I'm not sure. And Connor Havoc is also in the pits. I think he was also one of the guys on the soft tyres. Bog has already pitted. He was the other guy on the soft tyres. And Felix is back up into 14th and looks like he's having a bit of a battle with Politsos there, but doesn't get the better of him for now. But it's as we were at the front. Bassett, who's led since the first corner. Maggot in second. Gunnar trying to put some pressure on, but again, he's being sensible with his use. Let's jump on board with Maggot, who's putting an attack in on Bassett now. And I've got rubbish camera angles yet again, but Maggot's through at the back end of the straight. And he gets the job done. He's careful on exit, and Maggot retakes first place. As he runs a little bit wide, Bassett does manage to just creep back up on the gearbox of Maggot. Maggot, we know, is running low on ERS, so these guys behind will now be queuing up to try and get back round. But I'm sure that Bassett and Gunnar are the ones that started on the medium tyre. Might be an indication that the medium tyre is starting to go off a little bit. Pretty sure that the tyre wear around here is quite high, so the hard tyres might just be coming into their own. And then we've got Rishi just watching this whole thing happen from behind. But if Rishi's going to win this race, he might need to think about closing up now, because Maggot could quite easily start to pull away. As we've got some more yellow flags, we've got Man Like Donkey and Felix out. That's huge for Aston Martin. Can we jump on board one of these guys that's about to come around to see what's happened? Oh, how have they collided around there? Let's have another look. I don't know how they're out, and yeah, it's going to be a safety car. I'm not surprised. I have no idea how they've collided round there. No idea. Well, that's a shame, because there were some clear gaps. I mean, it's good for us to watch, because it's going to close the field back up. And we're now about to see what strategies we've got out there. I don't think Maggot, unless Maggot wants to flick it so he does a hard, medium. But if he wants to do a one-stop, he's going to be staying out on these hard tyres. I think the guys behind could think about ditching those mediums. What would they need to do? 20 or 19 laps on hards? And a couple of them are probably going to be behind the safety car, so yeah, I think that's doable. So they have that option, whereas I think Maggot doesn't have that option, because you're not going to get a set of mediums to the end, and you have to be on 2 different compounds of tyre in the race. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bassett, Gunnar come in, Maggot, Rishi and Kazingle to stay out, and Nicky Lauda. And Maggot comes in, interesting. So let's jump on board with him and see what tyres he decides to put on. My gut tells me we'll see mediums, and then he'll make a decision later on if he comes back in for another set of mediums, but I think he's going to be in trouble. I don't think you get the mediums all the way to the end, whereas these guys on the mediums can go on the hards, and I think they will go to the end. I'm not surprised to see Rishi and Kazingle stay out, if I'm honest. I think Maggot wants the pace advantage on the mediums, but we can see that the mediums don't last that long, and he just nips out in front of Huss, who tried to stay out as well. So that could be important, because that has split Huss and Bassett. Sorry, Maggot and Bassett. So that could be big for Maggot. So as it stands, Aston Martin will be Constructors' Champions, and I think Bassett would be... Bassett would be our Drivers' Champion. Yeah, he would. So safety car's on its way in. Rishi will take over the pace of the pack whilst he waits for the safety cars to go in. The question is, when does he go? And off he goes. So did Kazingle keep up with it? No, Kazingle's miles back. What was he doing? He's napping. And he's got Maggot on a faster tyre right behind him. Again, I think these front two have probably made the right call there. I think Maggot's going to have to pit again, but I suppose he's not really going to lose out to these guys in front. But when you think back to Bassett and Guna, they have come in and they probably will run to the end of the race. Bassett is putting some pressure on Huss, and this is that was massive for Maggot. And Marshmallow makes his way back down the field, so he's obviously had an accident out of turn one. So Huss being in the way of this of Bassett and Guna, and you can see Maggot up front is just putting huge amounts of pressure on Kazingle already. And I think we're going to see an overtake coming into this hairpin before the straight, and you can see Bassett following Huss down. Kazingle takes the wide line probably to get Slingshot out, but Maggot's able to press him off the track. And off Maggot goes. Can Kazingle get him back? Don't think he can. You can see the wing difference. Like Kazingle's going to be better through the corners here. What's Bassett going to be able to do? He's not close enough to Huss. Huss must be running. Yeah, like Bassett just looks a little bit more comfortable through the corner. So Bassett must be running the higher downforce out of the two. So that Mercedes is going to be horrible to try and overtake. Not really many corner overtakes you can make round here, and Nicky Lauda and Alfanshu are having a bit of a battle. Are they Look at this side by side. This is Gunnar and no, it's Niki Lauda and Arthanshu, and this is where we saw Felix off the track. There's a massive bottleneck, but you can see that Williams now. Rediat's been spun. There was a tap from the McLaren. Rediat put his nose in and just clipped the front of him, and Rediat's round and probably in a nasty position, but I don't think anyone's collected him on the way through. We've got a battle going on further up the field. Bassett trying to get through, and he hasn't been able to. So Maggott is on the charge, and look at him, he's already on the back of Rishi on these medium tyres. Look at the pace. Look at the grip he's getting from these medium tyres as well. Make sure you do not get the invalidation or the corner cutting. But the one thing that Bassett will be comfortable about here is the fact that I think every single driver in front of him will have to pit again, and that's why Maggott is trying to get on with it. And he's going to have these hard tyre blockers to get round, whilst Maggott is able to sort of drive off into the distance a little bit. If he can get round Rishi, Rishi's not going to be easy to overtake, but his ERS is on. He's making the move, and he's going to retake the lead of the race on these medium tyres. So, was it a bad strategy from him? And Rishi's still there. But I don't think Rishi will have to fight too hard. He knows that they're both going to have to pit at some point. Stewart makes the move on Arthanshu, and he's round into 8th. So now it's all about how much of a gap Maggott can make. Let's jump on board with Bassett, who, as it stands, will still be champion, and he knows that a lot of these drivers in front have to pit. In fact, all of them have to pit. His real threat is Gunnar from behind, but he's even broken about 7 tenths from him. So he's looking comfortable, Bassett. He won't be happy with this roadblock in front of him, but he's still in complete control of this race. And he's right on the back of Hurst now, and he is going to use the RS to get round, and he has pulled side by side. And there's Hurst's Mercedes. Hurst tries to outbrake him around the outside, and he runs wide, and that gives Bassett the line through. Does that allow Gunnar to attack him? No, he's going to have to sit in behind. And it'd be interesting now if we can watch Gunnar down the straight to see what his straight line speed's like. But the way he's just taking these corners, he's running high downforce as well, because he's been so much neater through there than Hurst has been able to. And you can see he's just trying to line up a good exit here so he can have a run at him down towards the hairpin, but you can just see his grip just run out there, and yeah, he's not going to be able to get that done. And I think if we sit on board with him now, and that's a good exit from Gunnar, but Hurst had a straighter car and was able to push on, and you can just see that Hurst is really tough to try and overtake, and Gunnar doesn't want to burn all that ARS, because if he does that, and on, didn't see that, Niki Lauda's had a pounce on him down the inside, and is he going to get 2 cars? Niki Lauda on the outside on the medium tyre. Hurst is trying to hold it off on the inside, but that's going to become Niki Lauda's corner now, and he's got it done. What a move from Niki Lauda to overtake some 3 corners, and we got to witness really the second, and TJL Stewart is now accompanying Gunnar around this tight corners. There's some really ballsy moves going on out here, and Stewart likes to get a job done. He doesn't like to hang around, so let's see how patient he is. And he's already on the back of Gunnar. This is going to be an overtake down into turn 1, and if he gets the momentum, he might even have a go at Hurst here. Is he going to dive in on it? No, he's not quite close enough, but Hurst has gone wide, and Stewart tries to get on the gas to try and beat him round. Gives him a tap, and just about keeps it together. And I think Gunnar was trying to eye up taking both of them there, but was a bit wise to it and didn't really want to chuck his nose in there and get it cleaned out. So it's a bit more experienced than that. So situation, Maggott has driven off 2 seconds down the road from Rishi. Rishi has made 2 seconds to Kazingle. Bassett's 2 seconds back from that, so we're even more spaced out than we were earlier. Niki Lauda 7 tenths back from Bassett, so he's starting to put some pressure on. We've got Huss, who's holding up this group that we're just watching now. TJL Stewart, Gunnar, and then Cav has joined the party as well. Cav is on the back of Gunnar. What's happened to Gunnar? Oh, it's because they're all on the medium strike tyre, that's why. They're just finding that extra bit of grip out of these corners, and Gunnar attacks hard round the outside. And Gunnar, is he going to keep that place? He's going to get the inside line here, but it's going to become the inside for Cav, but he's washed out a little bit wide, but he's going to be able to keep his nose in there, so that's going to be Cav through. But Gunnar doesn't have to stress too much about this right now, because we know that everyone in front of him is going to have to pit again, but it's just detached him from Bassett, really. That's the problem. So he will feel like it's slipping away from him, but he's still net P2, really. So shouldn't be too concerned. I think he'd be gutted that he's been detached, but if he can just hang on to the back of that group, it's not the end of the world, really. And we've got Nicky Lauda putting some pressure on Bassett, who just does not want any contact of any kind. Just wants to get to the end of this race, score as many points as he can, and that'll be it for him. He'll be champion. Only needs 3 or 4 points to make absolute sure, but you know, he just doesn't want to get caught up with Nicky Lauda here. Are we going to get any nice camera angles? Got a few, but stuck on board quite a lot tonight just because it's not the best track for showing you what's going on. And Gunnar is putting some pressure on Cav down before the straight. He's really had to nearly stop the car there because he just wasn't going to make the corner, and Cav can swing round the outside. And Nicky Lauda is now blasting past Bassett, so he's using his ERS pretty well. Wonder if he's got much left in the tank. He's got a fair bit, to be fair. He's been harvesting it well, but so's Bassett. So maybe he'll get him back a little bit later in the race. Maybe he's just trying to hold on to it. I think Nicky Lauda knows he's going to pit and get a little bit of a recharge, and Bassett doesn't have to, so he will be trying to preserve him just that little bit more. And Bassett knows he doesn't need to fight right now. Again, as I said before, he's really in control of this race, and Maggot needs to keep pressing hard. He needs to open up as much of a gap as he can to Bassett, and then come in and pit and get after him. And I think he's then going to have to overtake him again. We've got some yellow flags, sector 3. That's a Mercedes as Calypsos round. I don't think you can be out of the race there, and it looks like he's moving again, so all good. So Bassett is now going to have TGL Stewart company in a few corners time, I think. Wasn't the need to through the S-bends there, just missed the last curb in. You can see just missing a few apexes there, so Stewart just needs to neaten it up a little bit. He's got the pace, and he's probably running a downforce that allows him to have, or be a bullet down the straight. We're about to find out. It looks like it's closing in pretty quick, so clearly he's not running too high a downforce, and just look at the distance he's made up. So no wonder he's struggling in sector 1. Doesn't care about the corners, cares about the straight. Fair enough. But Stewart often finds opportunities to give himself a quicker tyre. Just really runs into his favour. It gives him a bit of an extra grip to make up for the fact that he's got barely any wing. He runs wide there. I don't think he'll get a warning for that. Connor gets past our fancy over to Evan. Evan's making his way up into the points, which is going to help that Ferrari battle for the constructors. But the standings as they are right now, Bassett will be drivers' champion. Aston Martin will take the constructors' championship, but Bassett is in an even more comfortable position than that because all the guys ahead of him do have to pit again. Cav picks up a 3-second time penalty. Giulio is just getting closer and closer, and we might just have to have a little look at Nicky Lauda. He's just found the back of Kazingle now, and we've seen how quick he's been down the straights, and he's coming up to him with some speed, but didn't want to chuck it down the outside there. Try and get it on the cutback as TGL Stewart has made his way past Bassett, and that is just at the end of that straight. So overtake from Stewart. Again, Bassett won't be too concerned about that. You guys can do what you like. You'll come back to me later. And if you have to pit, I will just drive around you. Simple as that. So easy equation for Bassett. Should have this in the locker as long as he doesn't make a mistake. And then Guna is just trying to apply some pressure to Cav, but you can see the damage it's done to him having all these medium runners. And you can see Rishi's in the pit, so he will come in. He's going to get those medium tyres on. It promotes Kazingle, but again, let's see where Rishi comes out, because that'll be an indication of roughly where Maggot will come out. Starting to see a few drivers pit now. They want the benefit of these medium tyres. And look how quick he is on the exit there. That's the downforce working in his favour. Runs deep, but he's going to get a nice exit out of here. Big Sauce is obviously using some of his ERS. He's running out of it, and here comes Guna. He's going to make the attack down into the end of the back straight, and he's got his car far enough ahead. He will get the inside line, and he'll try and cut Cav off, but Cav is trying to keep his nose in. Is it sensible to do it? Probably not, but Guna's wise to it and makes his way around the outside, gets the job done eventually. So Bassett is the next car then, who is starting to come back at TGL. So those medium tyres are obviously starting to drop off, the hard tyres are coming back, and that's probably the cue for Maggot to hurry up and get in the pit some point soon, because Ingle's worked it out, he's in, so I think Maggot needs to do the same as soon as possible, because Bassett is going to be released any second, and yeah, what that means is that Maggot needs to get in, get back out on a fresh set of tyres and get after Bassett. Just gets a little bit twitchy there on exit, but manages to hold the car. He's got his ERS light flashing. Likes to use as much as possible, and Guna's got 6.5 seconds to try and close in on Bassett. That's some damage that happened to him because of the medium tyres getting past him, really pushed him back away from Bassett. He's keeping up the whole race. Just shows you what it can do if people get past you at the wrong time. Bassett's making his way around sector 3, not really making too much of an impression on Stewart at this stage, but Bog has now made it up into the top 10, looking for a points finish. I think he might have another stop to make. Rishi is trying to put some pressure on Marshmallow. He's come in for fresh tyres. In fact, let's have a look at the tyres he's on. My assumption is that he will be back on a set of mediums. He is. A bit early for softs if you're coming in for softs. And Stewart has come in the pits, so again that's going to release Bassett. So I think Maggot has about just over 10 seconds of difference here, and if that starts to fade in a little bit, he needs to get in as soon as possible. I wonder if he's just going to stretch this stint out a little bit longer and then get on the softs and really then go hard after the front runner, which will be Bassett at that time, because I believe that Nicky Lauda will have to come in at some point as well. But probably not a bad idea to try and stretch it to get the softs on. It's not too many more laps now, as long as you're not losing too much time to Bassett in the meantime. And I don't think he is really. And now Guna's in 4th. Rishi's made his way up to 5th. He's got past Marshmallow. Kinzingle's in 7th. And we've got Stewart in 8th. Bog has made his way up to 9th. Keeps us to 10th. What tyre is Bog on actually? Let's have a quick look at that. He is on the hard tyre, so doesn't have to pit again. I don't think. That means those tyres will have gone 23 laps, which is a long, long way, but Elliot's already done 19 on his, so I think he'll hang around on that and see if he can pick up some points. So, good strategy from Bog. I hope I haven't jinxed him and he doesn't blow his tyre up in the last lap. because I mean, this is a lucky track for him. So Cav's probably the closest man on track. He's got Evan for company, 3/10 back. There's 3 cars here that we'll keep an eye on. Everyone else in the top 10 currently is spaced out. We'll keep an eye on the front runners to see if anything closes in. And actually, I think Maggot is actually pulling away from Bassett still. So yeah, I think it's about 11 seconds now. So no need for him to come in right now. And do you know what? He might even, if Rishi picks up a 3-second time penalty, can he go to the end? Oh, surely not. Surely not. So this battle just spacing out a little bit as well. So not too much going on track at the minute. I think Maggot's the man to keep an eye on, and he is continuing for now, and he's probably assessing whether he could actually stretch those mediums to the end, because what he could try and do is just try a little bit of lift and coast. Don't take too much pressure out of the tyres, and see if he can coast it down to the end. He's got a 10-second gap that he can play with, but if he's going to come in, he has to do it soon, because he's not pulling enough out on Bassett to come in and get back out ahead. So I think his play will be to just try and get to the end. Depends how much he wants to chuck in at the championship, and surely you've got to chuck everything at it and hope that Bassett makes a mistake, but at the minute he's got no car around him. I think what we'll do is we'll jump on board with Rishi. Looks like he's closing in on Gunnar. And Gunnar is on that hard tyre, and Rishi's on a fresh set of mediums, so we should see him start to catch up. He's really starting to catch Gunnar now. He's within half a second. He has got a 3-second penalty, so if he does get past, he needs to break a 3-second gap to Gunnar. So I think we're about to find out whether we can do that. And it's not beyond impossible. He's on the fresh tyres. On the quicker tyres, as long as they don't drop off a cliff, but from memory he came into these not that long ago. Just gets a bit of understeer there, but it's fine. Carries on. TVR strip, picks up a time penalty. But he's got a big gap behind him, so it's not going to be too costly. Just if he wants to get past Kazingal, that's when it becomes a problem. So Rishi now puts the pressure on Gunnar. And you can see he's gaining on him really quickly. Give me a better camera angle, please. Here we go. So they look like they're side by side. Rishi's just ahead, and you can see there's a battle going on behind. So Rishi has made it work. So Marshmallow and Kazingal on board with Kazingal. And he's trying the switch back, but I think Marshmallow's going to have enough momentum. But Kazingal does force his way down the outside, and Marshmallow closes it off. So another switch back for Kazingal. It's going to put him on the outside of this next left-hand corner, but he's going to keep swinging it around. He's going to try another cutback. Can he get the momentum out of the corner? They're going to be side by side around this part, but Marshmallow's got the inside line, and Guna's forced into a 3-second penalty as Rishi does make his way past a little bit earlier. So I wonder if he's just pushing to try and keep up with him. It's now put those two on a level playing field. So Kazingle, over to you, my friend. Can you get this done down into turn 1? You're going to have TJ Stewart on your back any second. So if Kazingle can close in on these two ahead of him as he runs deep, that's not going to help him, and he's going over the sausage curve. Stewart's going to take advantage of that, and he moves him around the outside. So Aston Martin are looking under pressure for this Constructors title, and I'll have to go back and check it to see how many points they have to beat the Ferrari by, but at the moment hasn't technically lost that place to Stewart because he's got a penalty, and we've got yellow flags. Who is it? It's Bob. Oh man, this guy doesn't have much luck around this track, I'll tell you that. But I think Maggot is going to try and stretch us out and go to the engine. I wonder if we have a quick look at him. I'm not sure if this game really has the graphics, but I mean, if you look at that front tyre, you can see there's a very harsh shading on the inside of that medium tyre, and Stewart and Marshmallow are going at it. And Marshmallow, does he give him a tap? Not quite. Does it let Kazingle into the battle? Not quite. But Kazingle's sniffing around. He's waiting for the mistake to happen as he gets a really good exit here, and he will now take the inside line. So he'll get the inside. And here they appear, and his teammate got a DNF around there. So I think he thinks again. And all Kazingle has to do is try and catch the back of Guna, really, because that could be a couple of places that he gains without having to make an overtake. So Marshmallow's going to play a key in this as Benny Bruno gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. It's a big penalty for a corner cut. Must have been a bad one. So what can Kazingle do? I'm assuming he's carrying a lot of downforce to try and speed up through the corners, and not really seen him make too much of an overtake on the back straights, really. And do you know what? I think this is actually going to be very, very tight. I think Ferrari might be winning the Constructors here, you know. Let me have a look. As Kazingle does make a move, and I think, do you know what, I think that might secure them the title, that place. Let's have a look. So where is he currently? He is in 7th place. 7th place gives you 6 points. I think that is just enough, as long as Maggot doesn't collect the fastest lap. And I can't see anyone with the fastest lap at the minute. Find out who that is after the race. Let's go back into the standings. So the Aston Martin team are exactly 20 points ahead. So Maggot could at most get 26 points. I don't know if he's got the fastest lap of the race or not. And I can't remember what I said, you get 7th place. 6 points. So if Maggot was to get the fastest lap of the race, that would equal, they'd be equal on points for the Constructors, and I think it would then come down to races won. But we've got to consider here that as long as Kazingle stays on the back of Stewart, he will have done enough here. But Evan is also in the mix because he's in 10th, and what's that? Is that a point? One minute, let's have another look at this, because I think I might be looking at the wrong point structure. Yes, 7th is 6 points, 10th is 1 point. So I actually think that time penalty for Stewart is going to be massive for Kazingle. So he's got 2 laps just to keep it in there. And I'll tell you what, Maggot has done a fantastic job of getting those mediums all the way to the end. And he's kept a 7-second gap to Nicky Lauda and a 10-second gap to Bassett. So fair play on that front. I have no idea how he's managed that. Fair play to him, as Marshmallow must have made a mistake. He's now 12 seconds off Kazingel, so Kazingle's got no pressure from behind. The key for him now, and Evan picks up a penalty. That's massive, because that might just drop him out. Let's look at the penalties. Nope, that's okay. We will keep 10th place as TJ Stewart picks up another 6 seconds, so that almost guarantees Kazingel 6th, and I think as long as Kazingel doesn't make a mistake, that will guarantee Aston Martin the constructors, I believe. I would like someone else just to check it in case my maths is bad, but I think that gives him 8 points. And unless Evan can pick up another place, that is then Aston Martin Constructors Championship. The Constructors Champions, which pains me to say it because, well, if Felix had turned up last year, he still wouldn't have been a Constructors Champion because we wouldn't have done it. We were rubbish last year. But he's recruited well in Kazingel. They've battled well as a team. You can see that Rishi got past Bassett. Must have been off the back straight. So Rishi needs 3 seconds in the last lap to pick up a podium. Bassett won't care. This Drivers' Championship will be his if he just finishes this race. Where he is, he's got plenty of time behind him. Kazingel is keeping in touch with TGL. Let me just quickly check that the Alpha Tauris can't win the Constructors there. So where is Bassett's technically P3? Didn't even consider the Alpha Tauri boys. So Bassett is technically in 3rd. So 3rd place gets 15. I don't think that's enough. No, that won't be enough. So it is really between Ferrari and Kazingel. Evan's still in 10th. Doesn't look like he's going to make any more places. Maggott's done everything he can by winning the race, and he's just cruising home by the look of it. Politsos picks up another 3-second penalty. Ooh, and Stewart goes wide there. But let's jump on board with Maggot, who's given it absolutely everything. And you can see, look, he's just taking his time, making sure he gets the car home. And he's got to hope that Bassett makes a mistake, because Kazingel does get past Stewart. Those tyres must be absolutely wrecked, which is why he's taking it so carefully around here. And I think Nicky Lauda must be doing the same, because look at the queue behind him. But Maggot, what a race. He's done everything he can to make this a championship battle. He's going to come over the line to win the race. I don't think it's enough for him to win the championship. Look how careful he's being. He must be on 90% tyre wear. Well done to Maggot. Nicky Lauda with a strong race comes over to take 2nd. Rishi comes over in 3rd, but Bassett will take the podium. So Bassett is our champion for the season. Well done, Bassett. Congratulations. Great drive from you. Kept it in control. Rishi finishes 4th, Kazingel in 5th, and you are a Constructors Champion, so congratulations, Kazingel. Guna comes over in 6th, TGL in 7th, Marshmallow will come over in 8th. We'll then see Cav coming over the line, who is trying to get Marshmallow on the line. Evan finishes the season strong in 10th, Politsos 11th, Arthansu coming over in the McLaren, Benny Buno, who's only done a couple of races this year, but great to have you back. Connor Havoc, well done, mate, and thanks for reserving in this league. And Reliant just jumps him, and again, thank you for reserving in this league. Been some interesting battles for you. And Huss, after showing so much promise early on in the season, I thought he was going to be a title contender. Just really struggled at the back end, but he will be back next year, I have no doubt. And then Mr. El Capitano, Barry Bogorowski, coming around the final sector. It wasn't a repeat of his Race of Champions, but I'm sure he enjoyed his time out on the track. So thank you for reserving. Good race from you, and congratulations to Felix, who also becomes a Constructors Champion for Division 3. I must say it has been a great year of racing. We've seen some fantastic moments. Key highlight for me, Shiva winning in Hungary after the rain came down. at the end of the safety car period. I think the tone was set in Bahrain early on, where we saw some big fights between Stewart, Alex, Huss, that really sort of set the tone for the season, and it's been sort of up and down. Maggott really struggled early on in the season at that Bahrain race, but was really consistent for the remainder of the season, has done really well to win today. He'll be gutted that he hasn't won the championship, but he'll be proud of that second place. But hats off to Bassett, he's been consistent this year. Hasn't won tons of races, I think he's won one, but he's had tons of podiums, and that's what's got him the championship in the end. And I think Niki Lauda will be hoping for a better season next year. He's shown tons of promise, loads of pace. Rishi, he's a reserve driver, but he showed his class this year. And Gunnar, again, thank you for reserving this year. It's been great to have you on the grid. And yeah, thanks to everyone that's raced in Division 3. It's been a really interesting one. We've had some great battles along the way. Congratulations to Bassett again, and to Kazingal and to Felix for winning the titles. So those guys will book their seat into the Race of Champions. We'll hear more about when that's scheduled for in the coming days, and hopefully you'll join us to watch that. So until then, well done to all the Division 3 boys. It's been a great season, and I'll see you next season.